Hi everyone, comic reviewer here. This time reviewing on Lion King, King 1.5, or as it was known as in other territories, known as Lion King 3, Hakuna Matata. Now as you know, Lion King 1.5, or as it was known in other regions as Lion King 3, Hakuna Matata, was a 2004 animated direct-to-video musical comedy film, which was one of those Disney direct-to-videos that were popping up everywhere back in the 2000s. And the point of Lion King 1.5 was meant to take place during the events of The Lion King and making it more into kind of explaining how Timon and Pumbaa first met and how they came together. Not only was it maybe based on the whole Lion King, Timon and Pumbaa series, which was meant to be more like a kind of Rocky and Bullwinkle-like story, but it being the third and final installment in the Lion King trilogy. So the premise of the film is meant to take place in a dark theatre, where it's meant to be a parody of the Mystery Science Theater 3000, as well as being a little bit inspired by At the Movies, where we do kind of see how, Timon and Pumbaa are watching The Lion King, so we kind of see how Timon gets the idea to explain to the audience how they first met. And we do kind of see how, Timon was meant to be this social outcast in the meerkat colony. We see how his mother does try to support and understand him, while his Uncle Max does have a bit of mixed feelings about him, and we see how Timon unintentionally gets himself and others put in danger. So we kind of see how, with advice from Rafiki, we see how Timon has to kind of find his own place and look beyond what he sees. I think there's a good message about the film that even though in life you can't fit somewhere, there is going to be something else meant for you. And we see how Timon ends up joining with Pumbaa, and we see them trying to find their own place. There's moments with the film where it does try to explain how Timon met Pumbaa and how they eventually find their sort of getaway area where they're going to find Simba. It feels like the film is trying to forcibly put them in places that they had no real place in. I think the thing is, if you're gonna do a prequel, you need to show it where the character was before the events. Show them hints that they did wanted to do the right thing, or ended up in the series of events that would lead to the events of a film, TV show, game, or comic. I think the thing is, what I think The Killing Joke got right at, you do see a hint about Joker's backstory, how he was a failed comedian, how a series of events made him into the Joker, and that can be tragically relatable. Or it's kind of like looking at, say the sort of horror film Pearl, given the fact Pearl saw her views and mindset like a child and never took any responsibility for her own actions. Or it's like looking at the Star Wars prequels as it covered Anakin's rise and downfall. The thing is, if you're gonna do prequels, you need to show hints to what a character was like, what their backstory was, what made them the way they are. And I think the problem is the film contradicts so many things from the first film, because it was suggested in the first film that Timon and Pumbaa had no idea who Rafiki was. Here in this film, Timon actually sees him as this kind of mentor who gives him advice. The problem was we didn't really need Rafiki to kind of guide Timon, and it just seems like they threw him in to give him the role of mentor. Another problem is when you have the hyenas at the end, the problem is the first film, they realised the truth of what Scar was, and you kind of saw the signs that they felt hurt and betrayed knowing that Scar used them. What I think the Disney villain comic series Scar got right at is showing Scar's rise and downfall. It was made sense that Rafiki tried to help Scar, but he was too far gone. You even saw hints that Scar was quick to kind of gain power and promise the sort of hyenas whatever they wanted. and it showed you that Scar was a terrible, crappy hunter with no real skills. The problem is, there was no reason for this film to be made. It was just a cash-in on the Lion King film series. But I think there's moments where the film really does show you where Timon wanted to find his own place. We saw how him and Pumbaa had to kind of find what they really wanted in life. But I think the film tries to put things in which had no reason to. The thing is, with a prequel or a kind of spin-off, you want to show where the characters are going to be placed. You want to show what they were like during the event, where their places were, what made them the way they are, what made them into the people they are. I think it's one of those films that's enjoyable, but at the same time, there's no reason to be made. So I think this one definitely deserves thumbs in the middle. Kind of alright, but kind of okay. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.